Welcome back to the Bernard Lee Poker Show. We are talking with Robbie Strazynski from CardPlayerLifestyle.com as we continue the 15th anniversary celebration of the Bernard Lee Poker Show. Robbie, thanks again for joining us, my friend. And we are right around the corner from the 2022 WSOP. What's your thoughts as we enter the new kind of realm of the Bally's Paris, world of the WSOP?
Excitement. There's two ways of going about it. Of like, oh, I'm gonna miss this and I'm gonna miss that, and that was familiar and that was my comfort zone. But variety is the spice of life, and here's a unique opportunity after umpteen years at the Rio. Gotta be 17 years at the Rio, something like that.
2005. I know it because It was my first year. Right. 2005 was the first year that they brought it to the Rio.
Right.
And so 17 years.
Right. And like after 17 years, all of us, that moneymaker boom generation, okay, it's something different. And okay, we're gonna miss the parking situation or whatever. We're going to miss the familiarity, but I'm excited because we're bringing the biggest thing in poker to the biggest, peak of the gambling mecca of the world, Las Vegas, to the Strip. And I think there's just so much potential to just from passersby to grow the game. Oh, what's this all about? What's this poker tournament? You got Vince Vaughn, from Caesars Corporate, brought him in to be an ambassador. That's huge. Like, I haven't seen it, but I've been told that the space, the amount of convention space between the two properties is just so massive. So there's room for even more players. I think genuinely, especially with everyone still, coming out of the pandemic and hungry to play poker at this World Series, there's certainly a potential. It may be the biggest main event ever in history, surpassing the Jamie Gold year, the 87-73. So I'm excited. I'm excited to attend and see what's new and then get used to something awesome.
Yeah, I said this before Black Friday, as it was just going crazy on how quickly it was growing, where they started preventing, online, et cetera, et cetera. I had said that if the growth continued the way it was, right, 56.19 in 2005, 87.73 in 2006, right? Yeah. So now, look at that. It's just it's starting to become exponential. I said that you would probably have had to have day ones in multiple locations. Right. So you would have probably had to had a day 1A Rio, day 1A Bally's, day 1A Paris, day 1A Caesars, day 1A Planet Hollywood, day 1A Flamingo. Again, maybe not all of them, but you probably would have had about 3 or 4 sites, just day 1A, then day 1B, same thing, day 1C, day 1D or whatever. And then a 2A probably in 3 or 4 of the sites. And then finally on day 4 or 5, we could potentially get all of them into one place at the Rio and go for that. I think the numbers could have been close to 15, 20,000 for the main. So it'll be interesting, like you said, how it all plays out. I'm very curious to see how it all links. I've heard 2 different things. One, it's a long walk back and forth. I've heard another one where they're connected in the back, so it's not that big of a deal. Mm-hmm. So we'll obviously see. I'm going to be there from the 12th, basically, for a couple of weeks. I'll be staying at Bally, so it's interesting. Nice. It's actually the first casino. This is back in 1996, I want to say. Oh, wow. It's the first casino I ever went to. Wow. In Las Vegas. They had a convention. I was working for a biotech company, and they were having a convention there at Bally's. And so that's where I went. Still remember the floor guy. I still remember the host that took care of me. I still remember those guys. And it's funny. But Bally's was the first casino I'd ever, it was before they blew the hole. Paris wasn't even there. What are we talking about? So Bellagio wasn't even there. That's what it was. So, but it's very interesting. It'll be very curious to see. Obviously, a lot of events, like you said, the parking's more of an issue for the Vegas residents or the Nevada residents than from you and me, right?
I think so.
I don't have a car, so what does it matter parking wise?
Right.
Hello, Uber and Lyft. Take me here. So, and right outside of Bally's, there are some pharmacy slash, kind of department stores. So you can grab waters and all that kind of,
Oh
it won't be
yeah,
that bad. It really
absolutely.
won't be that. Whereas the Rio doesn't have that, right? Like it's a little bit annoying. Like you have to go off and get it or, borrow a car from somebody or whatever. So it'll
Right,
be interesting to see the strip.
and I think also, Bally's is on the side of the strip where you've got the monorail. So, anyone who wants to stay at, whatever, Sahara or MGM, so you just wake up, go to the monorail, then
Right.
you're at Bally's. You don't have to walk in the 110-degree heat. So, that could be a nice means of transportation too. And again, I just, it's just cool. Like, it's funny because everyone's sort of starting from the same, from the same base of like, we don't know yet. And
Right.
now we all get to sort of learn together and experience it together. So I think that's a very good thing.
Yeah. What events are you looking forward to? Of course, we talked about your mixed game festival that's going to be
Right.
held at Las Vegas resorts. So are those the games that you are looking forward to at the World Series?
Oh man, I've only gotten to, I've been fortunate enough to get to play in 2 bracelet events in my life. I played in the Dealer's Choice 1500 and I played in the 1500 8 game. It was just an incredible experience and never thought I'd get to play in a bracelet event. So this year, unfortunately, I'm not going to be there long enough to really, be able to jump in. I've got a bunch of other stuff to do besides sort of hosting the festival at Resorts World. But I'm looking forward to from just, again, what I do is I promote the game that I love. I'm looking forward to 2 specific things that I think will be great is the seniors event, super seniors and the ladies week, the ladies event. I just think that, specifically having that opportunity on poker's biggest stage of the World Series to shine the light on those non-main demographics of, the 21 to 50 male crowd is just such a good thing and has the most built-in potential to grow the game further. I want to see more than 1,000 ladies taking part. I want to see 5,000 seniors. As folks get older, over 50. Yeah, sure, why not? Let's play the seniors. It's your birthday, right? We're recording on May 16th.
I know.
So.
I'm pointing. If for those of you who are listening on the radio, you can't see it, but I'm pointing at myself here on YouTube. I do turn 52 today. I mean, I'm technically a senior. I didn't get to play in the seniors last year. It just didn't work out.
Okay.
But I have made sure that my schedule is going to have the seniors this year. So I'm looking.
I wonder what that experience is going to be like for you, because I am sure it's going to be different.
Yeah.
Than just sort of playing with all these young guns,
Over the last year and a half, I've played in a bunch. I mean, a lot of people are just like, "What are you doing playing in this event?" Not to say that I'm that young looking, but I don't.
Right.
People don't think I'm 50, and so I've played in them. I can see the difference. I really can. I understand the difference between the games, and it is different. It is different. I don't want to necessarily go into the strategy right now because it's an event. I'm also not one that wins 5,000 person events, so I don't think that me giving away that strategy is going to make my odds go down. But it is definitely different. It is definitely a different game the way it's played, for better and for worse. Right. And so it's just like the main event, you got to get through a lot of minefields, but I've been fortunate that I've cashed in 4 main events in my career.
There you go.
And so I know I can, get through some of these minefields and do what I have to do, but I'm looking forward to that. I will say, I agree with you. I'm looking forward to that event.
Nice.
As for myself,
I got 10 years to go till I'm eligible, so we'll see what happens.
And at that point, I'll be able to play in the super seniors event.
There you go.
But I'm looking forward to Deuce to 7. I always am. Phil Hellmuth won the 1500. He took my bracelet last year. God darn it. But no, I always look forward to the 1500. It's the one I final tabled it twice in my career, and I finished runner up a few years ago. So I feel like if I'm going to win a bracelet, that's probably the one that I have the best chance at. I feel like I'm a pretty good Deuce to 7 single draw, no limit player. And I just look forward to that event. In all honesty, over the last 4 or 5 years, that is my first event. I literally focus my schedule around that because I don't want to play no limit 2 or 3 times and then switch my brain thinking to Deuce to 7. So I really focus on Deuce to 7, going in a week before, going over my notes, trying to play as much as I can, and then play it, maybe play the Deuce to 7 10K as well.
Right.
And then see what happens. Then from there, we see what happens. But that's definitely the one I'm looking forward to. Obviously, the seniors event as well. The other event that I'm looking forward to is something similar to along on your lines. Is I just wrote a column in Card Player about it. Adam Friedman did an achievement that we've been debating it back and forth. So if people don't know this, he won the $10,000 dealer's choice. I think it's six-handed dealer's choice championship 3 times in a row. Now, people will be like, why are you saying it that way, not 3 years in a row? Because obviously 1 year didn't happen because of COVID, but 3 times that it was done, he won it 3 years in a row. It's the first time anyone has won the same bracelet at the World Series 3 times in a row. And I think Adam said that he knew that 6 or 7 times it had been set up that way, but this is the first time that it's actually been done. He was playing for a $10,000 event. Phil Hellmuth stood in his way. This isn't the first time Phil Hellmuth stood in the way of somebody. Johnny Chan in 89 had won 87 and 88 main event. Johnny Chan was the closest to winning 3 in a row, but of course was succumbed to Phil Hellmuth finishing runner-up in the 89 main event, but Adam Friedman was able to take that. So I'm very curious to see how Adam does in that. Obviously, all spotlight will be on him, and it would be unbelievable for him to win 4 in a row. It would be an achievement like, that would literally make it number one. I have argued that I think it's top 5 in the World Series scenario, but people have argued like, so what are the better ones? And I'm not even 100% sure what the better ones are. But I think it's definitely top 5. It's an incredible, because it's not like he's playing against just the average players. He's playing against the best players in the world.
Right. And in all the games.
Exactly.
Not just Hold'em. Yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible. It really, really is. So kudos to him for doing what he did. There are so many interesting events that are going to take place throughout the World Series. And of course, they now have these, what I call post-preliminary events. So even after the main event happens, there's so many events that occur. So players are still sticking around after the main event. In the past, once you get knocked out of the main event, you just leave. Right. And so Scott Blumstein, who was on the show just recently, said he was very fortunate that in 2017, that was the first year non-November 9, but they also had these post-preliminaries. So people were still around. So you didn't have to worry about bringing people in. A lot of his friends were still there playing. And so that was a very fortunate thing for him to be there.
One of my favorite post-lim sort of stories or incidents was when you had Joe Cata just a couple years ago. He makes again the final table of the main event. And then he just, I'll hop into the closer, and he goes ahead and banks it for another $600,000.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy.
He even talks about it. He was like, yeah, my family was in town and they were at the pool, etc. And he was like, I could turn this way to the pool. Or I could turn that way to the World Series. And I went right to the World Series. And like you said, binks off that one. So it'll be very interesting, obviously, to see what other event. The interesting thing also is a Tournament of Champions. So the last event, it's a free roll event, but anyone who wins a bracelet is now in this Tournament of Champions. It's kind of like for the World Series circuit way back when it was, if anyone won a main event or won the series of the year or was in the top 50 point wise, you were able to play in this $1 million free roll. So they're doing something similar to that, where anyone who's won a ring, by the way, it's not even just like if you just win a ring, which that means there's a few hundred. And then if you win a bracelet, you get. So there are going to be a few hundred people in this. I think it's $1 million free roll as well. That's a great event. I've been fortunate to play in it about 3 or 4 times. And when the World Series circuit was still kind of in its infancy, it was definitely something to chase and reasonable to chase. I wrote a column about it on ESPN where you're able to chase it, not every single time. Like you didn't have to go to every single one. Now you almost have to go to every single one. There's just too many points that you need,
Right.
and it's not reasonable. If I went to about 6 to 8 of these of the year, you could do it, and I proved it. I've done it a few times, but it's too hard to do it now with so many events. Again, we'll see, because we're not fully off of the COVID world,
Right.
but hopefully that'll be the case as well. Any other events that you're looking forward to?
Well, I'm always a sucker for the Poker Players Championship, the 50K,
Yeah.
the Chip Reese Trophy. I still think, I know it doesn't get as many entrants as it used to. I'm hopeful that, maybe this year will be an uptick again towards the 100 player mark. But, when you're talking also, like you said, the best players in the world, playing, I think it's a 9-game mix. There's no truer test of a poker player's prowess than playing against your fellow best players for 50K. You don't just luck box your way in there,
Right.
So like, and I just to have also that your name etched on the Chip Reese Trophy, I'd say, beyond and beside or just to the side of the main event championship bracelet, that is probably in my mind the most prestigious thing that you could win. It really does mean something. So that's always just a good watch. And plus, again, as we spoke, circling back to the whole mixed game thing, seeing mixed games get that, top platform is always a very good thing in my mind to go ahead and grow the game.
And last year it meant something to you personally, because you flew all the way in from Israel to watch Ellie play. Unfortunately, I think he was chip leading with the final 6 and ended up 3rd or 4th, right?
4th, yeah. But it was still fun. It was he didn't know. That was the big surprise. He didn't know I was coming, so that was pretty cool. Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah, I think some of the other things are some of the big high roller events as well. It kicks off, the casino employee event is always the first one. This time it's on a Tuesday. Usually they're on Wednesday. So I was a little surprised when I first saw the schedule. Usually Wednesday after Memorial Day is when they kick it off. But this year it'll be on Tuesday. They usually have a kind of cool event after that. The 11 o'clock or the morning event is the employee event. And then afterward, they've had one where it was a $10,000 bounty previously, or heads up or whatever. This one's going to be a high roller bounty, $100,000 buy-in. I mean, talk about kicking off an event. And for those people who win, making their entire summer. For those people who lose, who are in a hole right out of the gate.
It really goes both ways.
Yeah. I mean, ugh is really the only way to talk about that. And then as you get close to the main event, the week of the the day of the 23rd in June, super high roller, no limit hold'em, $250,000 buy-in. It's just those events are just, it's unbelievable, right? You just look at the prize money that's in there. It'll always be very interesting to see how that all works out and who plays it. And of course, all these, it's right now, it's a very interesting scenario in the world. I would have said originally it's a very bimodal, but now it's almost like a trimodal scenario with poker. You got the really, really high rollers, right? I mean, like, and I'm not talking 10,000. I'm talking almost like 25,000 and up, right? 25,000 to $1 million buy-in. Those are the guys that are, what you're seeing on Poker Go a lot with the Poker Masters and all that stuff. Then you have, in my opinion, the $3,500 to the $10,000 buy-in, maybe just under 10,000, but anyway, around there. Those are the WPT main events, WPT Choctaw, obviously the World Series main event. You get a lot of big main event buy-ins at that stage.
Right.
And then you have like, I don't know, you want to say 100 to like 1,700, right? And that's really the WSOP circuit, the Run Good Gear series, really those there. There's no discredit to any of those, by the way. I'm not putting
down. It's nice that everyone has their
I play in the Run Good. I play in the World Series circuit. So if I'm putting that down, then I'm putting myself down. So there's no discredit to those. But to me, that's really kind of how the world of poker has kind of separated out in buy-ins. And obviously it's bankroll and all of that kind of stuff. And, how people kind of intersperse between those three. It's you don't really see many who play in the lowest one and the highest one, right? That's very
maybe an Ari angle, maybe.
That's good, dude. I like that. I like that.
He
I
does
like that.
everything.
Ari may do that. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Of all people, there could be one. That's right.
What I love is, as fans, folks, most folks, except for those few dozen people, we'd never have any hope of entering an event that costs $250,000 to enter. But as a fan, I know the way it works. You send in your wire, or you give a couple of, cranberries or whatever the chips are. Okay, and you buy it in. I just think it'd be cool from a fan's perspective if they just sort of had like a procession of, like, if everyone just had to have bricks of cash and give it in at the cashier's window, then they go take their seat. That'd be the gravity hits you of like, okay, wow, like it really costs a house to buy into this event.
I will tell you, it's been, there have been many times, unfortunately, I say it really unfortunately, that I've had to buy in directly with 10,000 in cash. A lot of times you could be able to do it with a wire or whatever, but there have been several times where I've done it. I have to tell you, every time you do it, you just look down and go, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
It's
Like,
a
I
real
don't
thing.
understand. Like, this hasn't happened just once. Like, it's happened a few times. And God, like, you just look down and you go, why am I doing this? Like, this is crazy. I mean, like at the World Series, more often than not, that doesn't happen because either I've sent in a wire, I have a cashier's check, I've played satellites. Go get poker satellite success. I've got satellites, and I'm able to put in the lammer, so it's not as big of a deal. But like, I've done it. Ironically, I've done it a lot in Atlantic City. It seems like a very funny thing, but because it's just a fairly quick drive, and I'm just coming from there, like I can get the money and then just drop it right down. It's very funny. I've done that a lot at Borgata. Like, come to think of it. And ironically, I haven't done very well at Borgata. Maybe just the shock of seeing it totally throws me off. Maybe I shouldn't do that anymore.
I'll say it myself. Look, I play for significantly lower stakes, like a 4-8, 8-16. For me, $1,500 is a considerable amount to plunk down, and I specifically wanted that experience when I played in that first.
Yeah. Did you do it in 20s? Did you do it all in 20s?
No, it was hundreds. It was hundreds. I'm like, when you're holding on to $1,500 and you think, what you could be buying, and you don't think when you're in the middle of the tournament, of course, but when you're, I wanted that experience of standing in line and that gravity of the moment sinking in on me, and here you go. Take my $1,500. I don't want to buy a fridge and a couch and whatever. I just want a little piece of paper that entitles me to take.
You don't want to make a payment on your mortgage, nothing like that. Right. Like, I know, I get it. Well, the World Series is going to be exciting. We're looking forward to the move because, like you said, it's been at the Rio since 2005. I'm fortunate. My first year was 2005. I was fortunate enough to make the final journey back to the Horseshoe to say goodbye to the Horseshoe. I wonder if they're going to do something along those lines of like making a final trip to the Rio, doing something. I don't know if they will, but for people who don't remember, 2003 Moneymaker, it was there at the Horseshoe. 2004 with Greg Raymer, it was there at the Horseshoe, and it was so crazy that there were tables in between slot machines. I mean, it was nuts. Then in 2005, the Caesars Corporation, I think it was Harrah's at the time, purchased the World Series brand, decided to have it at the Rio, but as a tribute, decided to take the final 3 tables of the World Series main event and bring it back to Benny's bullpen. And play it out there, and we all signed the table with regards to it. So I was very fortunate to be part of that tradition to go back. And so you wonder if they're going to do something along those lines as well to kind of go back to the Rio and the like. But it'll be, like I said, it'll be a great experience. I'm looking forward to seeing how it's all going to play out. Because, like you said, are the rooms connected? Is it going to be easy? Is it going to be obvious? We're so used to the Rio, right? You walk down, you come from the hotel, you go down the hallway, you see Hashigogo on your left, you see the Starbucks, you make the turn, you go down the hallway, and now you see the pavilion, and then there it is, et cetera, right? And so you know what it is. we're going to have to see what it's like at Bally's in Paris. And I hope they have a really long run there at Bally's in Paris,
Yeah.
and not just a short run and they have to figure out something else. So,
Right.
well, we'll see what else. But hey, listen, Robbie, congratulations. Good luck on the Mixed Game Festival at Las Vegas Resorts again from June 12th to the 16th. Stop by. You can play all the different kind of mixed games, kind of dealer's choice mixed games. And I'll be there on the 13th, signing my book, Poker Satellite Success. You can grab a copy and I will sign it for you. And we can talk about satellite strategy if anyone's interested with it. And I will try to stop by on other days to try to play some mixed games as well. So Robbie Strazynski, thanks so much for joining us here as we continue the 15th anniversary celebration of the Bernard Lee Poker Show. And as always, may you always go in with the best hand. And may you never get unlucky. Good night, everybody.